Good.
Networks don't talk about it. Government can't tax it. But sports betting is a $200 billion a year business.
That's a major U.S. Supreme Court ruling that could open the door for legalized sports betting all across the country.
The Supreme Court is giving the green light for states to determine on their own whether they want to legalize sports gambling.
Tell Donahue his next pick is good for 20 grand, but I need him to guarantee a win, okay? I need a lock.
He's not that fucking good.
No, Tommy, he has to. All right, he has to, or else they're going to kill me. Do you realize this, Tommy? They're going to fucking kill me. I can't afford to gamble anymore. I need a fucking lock.
And as always, locks we shall give. Welcome in to episode 2 of season 3 of Lock Talk. It is Jake O'Kane, and I am joined by a very, 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 very special guest. Not my dog that's barking, if you can hear him in the background, but it's the man, the degen. You see the name on the hat. It is Gino from BetOpenly. Mr. Gino, welcome in, my friend. Happy to have you.
Thanks, brother. I don't feel that special, but you make me feel special.
Well, we're gonna get into how your role has helped shape the betting landscape in a little bit. We'll get to Gino's story. Gino's here though to talk college football. That's what this stream is about today. Gino is going to be back here before week 1 to talk some NFL with us as well. So a little preview of that as we are going to cover just a few storylines of week 1 of preseason. Nothing too crazy in that front. We don't try to overhype too much, but it's NFL week 1. Gino, it's football season, man. How are we feeling? Got to be feeling great.
Oh man. So I want to tell you all the positive, and then I'll give you a little of the negative because I want to make this positives. Y'all are like, I can't wait for football. I want it tomorrow. I'm like, I need more weeks to prepare for football. So it's like totally shifted. Owning a company now where, we do, I might mess this number up. I want to say we do 68% of our volume in the the September, October, November, December.
Sure.
So that is a substantial number. Even though playoffs are the most fun, it thins out, less games and a peer-to-peer network just has less bets. So, yeah, I'm excited, but I was just saying the other day that I wish I had 2 extra weeks, which no one else feels. No real fans like, I really wish I had to wait 2 more weeks.
Yeah,
I really want my time.
Well, you look at it obviously from, like you said, from an entrepreneurial perspective where it really is go time for you guys. I'm sure stress is high. We're going to talk about it later. You're a dad, so you just got done with parent teacher conferences. You add that on top of things. I think Florida, you guys start school super early down there, so I know you guys are back at it. It's crazy. I don't remember starting this early as a kid, but yeah, man, it's for us. Obviously, it's super exciting. And yes, Ron, we're going for 25K on stream tonight. We had 20. We've got already 564 up, which is outstanding. Make sure you are hopping onto Gino's page. He's got BetOpenly as well as his personal spot, which is obviously 2 places you want to find yourself because he's one of the OGs when it comes to at least the Twitter space of gambling. I'm not gonna to get on my knees and give you OG of the entire space because obviously that would be doing a disservice to a lot of people. And I'm sure it would make a lot of people at Bet Bash super upset if I said something that naive. But man, let's talk about your space before we get into anything else. I'm wearing the shirt or sweatshirt, BetOpenly, peer-to-peer betting. I've talked about it on this show for years. BetOpenly is what? How many years old are we talking nowadays?
We released in 2020, but there wasn't really sports.
There wasn't much going on, man. I wasn't getting my bets filled in 2020 and 2021 a whole lot. That was the Wild West.
Shout out to Dana for coming through with was it called Fight Island? Man, I'm so old, my memory.
Yeah, it was Fight Island. Yeah, they had a whole island which turned into just a single little spot on the island. But yeah, dude, was that your guys' first big event?
Like just in general,
Sure.
Well, everything else went off. We launched after Super Bowl. We wanted to, obviously you want to be at those big events, but for peer-to-peer, I always knew the problem was going to be volume. So we wanted to launch after Super Bowl just to get expectations low. And basically what happened then? COVID's like, I don't know, a week later, a month later, I forget now, but it wasn't long. So we launched soft in 2020. We really didn't have much going on until like the end of 2020. So I would say this is coming up theoretically on 5 years.
theoretically on 5 years, and I believe the number is now north of 7, 8 million. Last time I checked, total money saved with the platform.
Oh, we're better than that, my
Better than
dude.
that.
Yeah,
It's been a long summer. I take the summers
11.
off.
We're at 11. We're at
11.
11,420,000.
8 figures, brother. That is unbelievable. Who would
I
have thought
know.
from back where you started, where I had to tweet my bets out. I had to go post them on like
Oh,
gambling pages just to say, hey guys, guess what? You can take my action. It's 1% juice. Anyone want to come in? Nobody wanted to come in for the most part. It was
do
very,
you know
very
what's
tough
crazy?
in the beginning.
We have such unique users and fans now. I had a guy yesterday tell me he put in 20K.
Yeah.
He said, I'm gonna fill this is I was like, what is this? What are you talking about? But I'll tell you the whole story. He's like, I'm gonna fill every bet under $100 today. This has happened yesterday. He told me this 2 days ago. He said, I'm gonna fill every bet under $100 tomorrow, which was yesterday, as long as it's stamped green or gold. And I said, like, I don't know if you're messing with me, but you're my hero. You're my idol.
Sure.
I'm
These
like,
are the
no,
guys we
no.
need.
He's like, the volume's lower now. And it really is lower, guys. Right now, we're probably only doing 250K a day. But to give you context, when the OG O'Kane was on there, we were doing like 10K a
Big
day.
time.
So
Big time.
it's changed a lot. But he told me, and again, I love Mr. Unselfish, but then he also said for his own selfish reasons, he said he made $460. So he wanted to see during low volume, because he's like, I don't have enough to fill that. You wouldn't with 20K, you couldn't do that during football.
No.
Well, there's enough. So you could get through the 20 and then there'd still be more, but that would just be, and he just wanted to see. So I don't know. I reached out to him. I said, congrats. Are you doing it again today? And he didn't reply. So, this is where I'm still a small business. I'm like,
sure.
dog, do it every day. Like,
Hey,
do it.
you want to come back?
Blows up.
Gino's his own VIP service. He's the
I'm everything.
concierge. He'll play all hats.
I want dude doing that every day until he's belly up or worth 100. So he didn't get back to me, so it's okay. I'm glad the experiment worked. I'm glad he didn't lose money. I don't know what happened to him today, but that's where we're at. So overall, I don't want to make this a commercial. I want to make this about the exciting stuff.
Right.
We got all sports now. We just added 3 different ways to bet golf, so that was sick. That went live on Monday. I announced things 3 days late because there's a shit ton of bugs, but golf, you can now bet live, you can now bet head to head, you can now bet round 1, you can now bet tournament. I'm running all that for 2 weeks, and then I'm going to add props. So right now, a lot of golf, but no props yet. Like, you'll be able to bet Rory over under, like on birdies and stuff. We're just not there yet. But what we have coming out on Monday is Daily Survivor, which I am over the moon about. And I'll just try and keep this exciting, not a commercial.
Okay.
You can literally enter a survivor pool for baseball on Tuesday, and you got to pick one team a day to win. And you can't use that team twice.
Sure.
So same as the football one, but now we're every day. The best part, we're going to start one every day. So if you're out day 1, you can start day 2. If you're out day 3, you can start day 4. It don't matter. We're going to do daily for football, basketball, both college and pro. Hockey, daily. You can bang out Survivor. And again, if 9 guys enter, it pays 9-1. It might last 5 days. It might last 15. But it pays 9-1 like a parlay without the downside, my dudes. You just got to bang someone not to lose, like minus 300 teams, minus 250s. Now, there is strategy. You got to look ahead. Like, there might be a game a day 3 days from now where only 6 teams play, only 3 are favored. So you probably want to save 1 or 2 of those teams. Again, I don't want to get too deep into that, but it's not nothing but exciting. So then, like normal, we're going to have Daily Survivor starts first before football. Then we're going to have Weekly Survivor. Hold on to your hats here. You're going to be able to bet football, no surprise. UFC in Survivor.
UFC Survivor?
Just use that fighter. You probably don't quote me on this, but I think they don't fight for like 4 more months, right?
Right. I was going to say, this is going to carry over for,
but there's upsets.
I love that.
So if there's just like, again, maybe 15 dudes only do it. I'm telling you, there's upsets. And
Like that.
people say I always pick the favorite. Guys, I finished 105 last year in the circa millions out of 16,000, 15,000.
Sure.
If you just pick the favorites, you will be wiped out when the favorites get wiped out. So again, it's not one of those ones. So I'm pumped about it because it pays like a parlay. You can enter every day or week, and they're forever. Circa, I got my number runners, my guys in Vegas that I got to get the money and the information. These will start every week. So week 2 of NFL, there'll be a new one starting. Week 3, new one starting. The last thing, and I'm going to wait probably until mid-season, we're going to see if people want it. We're going to try daily Survivor for football. And what that means is you have to pick Monday night, Thursday night, and a Sunday. It doesn't need to be Sunday night, but one game Sunday. It'll get a little tricky.
Like the weekly idea of it. I like that.
It's like strategic. You got to make sure you have enough teams, right? Imagine you use 2 teams and they're playing Monday, like 2 Mondays from now. You're eliminated. So we're going to find a way to make it really easy. But that's what one product I got coming. Survivor. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to add a lot of and then I'll just give you guys one more and then we'll be done. So we have this thing that we're launching out aside from Daily Survivor. I already gave you all the who blah blah there. We're going to roll out, stick with me here. It's called Happy Hour. Okay. Calling it Happy Hour. I'll try and make this description a little shorter because it's a really complex one, but biggest problem with peer-to-peer is unfilled bets. Live just isn't great. Even though we got live, it's just not the best. You got 90 seconds to fill a live bet. We fill a lot during primetime, guys, but it just ain't the best. If I'm being honest, books are great for live. Books are great for big parlays, and books are great for futures. We do all of that, but it's just not as good as a book. I'm just being candid with you.
Sure.
Happy Hour, you enter in, you pay anything you want from $1 to 100. You get 1,000 chips. You are betting live with book odds. They're all auto-filling. Okay, hear me out. The reason we're calling it Happy Hour, it lasts 1 hour. So you can literally live bet all on one game. You can parlay. You can do whatever you want in that hour. And if you finish with 0 to 999 chips, if you lose it, if you're down money, you do lose your entry. So if it's $1, you lost the $1. If it's $5, you lost the $5. The reason is you're essentially building this happy hour up. So if you can 7x your chips, you get paid 10x. If you can 4x your chips, you get paid 5x. If you can 1.5x your chips, you get paid 2x. So candidly, I'll never fool anyone. You give up the downside for the upside. So it's the closest thing I think we got it past as a game of skill, which is super important for us.
Right.
I believe it'll get people the rush of live betting with a book, the upside of parlays. The downside is if you lose one chip, you lose all your dollar. You lose 100%, even though you're down a little.
Right.
The math works out where, okay, some guys will be down 10, 20% and they'll lose their whole stack. And then we can give higher upside. So those are the 2 products that I got, one coming out next week and one coming out in 2 weeks. They'll both be ready for football. Pumped about that. And that's where we're at.
Love that. I love that. Well, and now BetOpenly available on the App Store. That is one of the biggest things nowadays. And honestly, it's so crazy how well you guys mirrored the UI just perfectly of what I see on BetOpenly.com mobile.
I got gray hairs, dude. There's gray hairs. There are gray hairs in here.
Yeah, that's Apple right there, folks.
I hate that we have an app and a site.
Yeah.
But everyone asked for an app. There was not
everybody
a higher request. So yes, Okayne's right. We have an app. It works just like the site. It is 1 week delayed, but go to iOS, Apple, type in BetOpenly. You'll find it. It is us. But goddamn, we have to rewrite every code twice now. I basically have 2 companies making $1 amount. It was a headache.
Gotta love that. Well, the people love it. That was always my biggest thing when my buddies would be like, all right, just send me the link for the app. It's like, well, here, just take this. But awesome. Well, Bet Openly is a big thing. Peer-to-peer is getting bigger and bigger. You're going to see more and more players enter the space. Bet Openly is one of the OGs. I would put that up against any of the ones that have come out in the last few years. There are ones that get liquidity filled. The exchange part of things, some of
Ooh.
them just take too much headspace, whereas Bet Openly is simple. Here's my bet. This is how much of it is filling. That's it. Everybody wants it to look like a stock market, make it
Oh
feel like
man.
something it isn't. This is
Don't
fun,
get me started. I don't want to talk shit about competitors,
right?
but I actually am friends with all of the founders of our
Sure.
competitors. So I want to say that first and foremost.
Mhm.
I appreciate that you appreciate the simplicity. I'll also say this, and I mean this from a place of education, no shade. There are people that came out after us that have raised a lot more money than us. We chose to self-finance. In some people's eyes, that makes them more successful. That won't hurt my feelings. I regret every fifth day not taking money when I got offered $2 million. I will say what comes with money is the need to make it back.
Mhm.
So you will see our competitors, who I will not name, have to have more width, have to have more fees. They have more employees and they raised more money.
Mhm.
What does come with that? More liquidity, more marketing, more sign-up bonuses. So I truly believe, and I'll leave it here because I don't want to be quoted. I don't want to ever throw shade at people that I truly see as friends, as competitive friends in the space. If I could leave it at this one sentence, there's sports books, there's Bet Openly, and I do believe my competitors are actually in the middle. I do believe that. So I would say that to their faces. I'm not throwing shade. I'm not saying they're a fake exchange. I'm not saying none of that negative. We're purely peer-to-peer, purely no width, no market makers, no exchange, nothing. It's you bet it, the exact opposite posts. Two people fill it. I get 1%, 99% stays in the community. If I had to go a hair deeper, without, again, no shade, a lot of people don't realize those exchanges have width. They'll have a bet on this side, and they're not off by the 1% or the same. So just know, if I had to really paint it in one sentence that I'm proud of, there's books, there's Bet Openly, and there's a lot in between now. We will
Mhm.
always be the purest peer-to-peer.
Sure.
I'll leave
Yeah.
it there.
I mean, that's people have asked me for a long time. Obviously, there's a lot of different online offshore books. There are bookies galore up in my neck of the woods, not having retail sports books. Uh, in a place like Wisconsin, Bet Openly has been the place to go to. And this year, I'm very excited because this will be the first year that I'll be putting my entire bankroll in this fall in crypto, which I am super pumped about for you. I know you guys have been working your asses off to get that all going. I don't even want to get into the weeds on crypto and all the
I'll bite my tongue.
yeah, a lot going on there. But yes, Bet Openly does hold all of their money in crypto, which big shout out for that. That's the foresight we love to see. So, all right, let's talk real quick. I just want to blast through this in less than 5 minutes. Preseason week one, Gino, we're not going to overreact over anything. You're always going to talk rookie quarterbacks. So before we do that, I don't know if you saw Anthony Richardson get smoked on a wide open blitzer off the edge. He got knocked out of the game. Hate to see that. That's kind of been his MO. Other than that, injuries super surprising, relatively quiet, high ankle sprain for Tyjae Spears, and Rashad White's got a groin. But I want to talk about the rookie quarterbacks just real quick. Obviously,
Yeah.
the one that everyone got crazy about was Shador. Did you watch any of it? What are your thoughts? Obviously, I'm not going to get too hyped up. 14 to 23, 138, 2 touchdowns. Quick
So
thoughts for you.
people are gonna hate this, but who went? Is it Huntley? Who was before Shador? Who's
That was
the
Huntley. Yeah.
Huntley? Man,
Yeah.
I'm
They
proud of
brought him in
myself.
that week.
So you guys are gonna hate me for saying this. Huntley played better. Huntley was more efficient, took less sacks. Yes, he had one touchdown versus two. He had 1/3 of the passes, 1/3 of
Sure.
snaps. So theoretically, higher completion percentage, less losses on yards on sacks, and better touchdown to snap ratio, whatever.
Right.
But the news won't cover that. I
No.
don't hate Shador the same way people do. You know, it's kind of, again, I know it's a safe space, so I'm just going to be who I am. I don't know if the media is causing division anymore or if it's literally just pricks online. But I oddly feel like we've moved backward as a society, like in some sense.
Sure.
We're talking about like the races of quarterbacks way more now than we were like just 5 years ago. And if
Right.
anything, everything's gotten more equal and more even.
Right.
And now someone's pushing that narrative because if you know data, you know it doesn't play. Anytime someone doesn't get paid, it's because they're race. Anytime they do, you're a hater. It's like
Right.
there's no room for anything. So I don't really. Let me rephrase. I don't buy into the Shador narrative nearly as much as I bought into the Caitlin Angel
Sure.
Reese.
Sure.
I actually
That felt way more real than this.
I was online actually fighting with people saying you wouldn't really know Angel Reese if it wasn't for her missed layups and that her team beat Caitlin's team in the championship.
Yeah.
Caitlin is not even on the same
No.
universe. A healthy
No.
Caitlin. Like
Right.
the stats she's putting up and stuff.
It's
the-
not.
And the irony is, if Caitlin was black and getting this hate, it would be catastrophic.
It'd be.
So
Yeah.
I'm trying to throw him a bone here. I do think Shador gets a little too much hate because of who his dad is and
Yeah, of
because
course.
he's flashy. Like
You grew up in the Dion era. You watched it. He was on your team for a little bit. You got to see the
Dion
whole
was on-
show.
he
I
was a
didn't.
Niner.
I was a little late. I've only seen it as a coach, but I mean, this is who they are. And if
I
you're
mean,
upset
Dion-
by it, you never probably liked it.
people don't realize this is a terrible analogy, but I don't really have a better one in football. Tom Brady and Dion are obviously on different wavelengths, but
Right.
Dion did go from Dallas to Niners and win it both. And he was a lockdown corner. He did punt returns. He was a playmaker. I'm not putting him on Tom Brady's level, but I will say the questions that Tom Brady answered when he went to Tampa Bay, I felt like Dion answered, even though he didn't have those questions, that he literally was the difference between the Niners and the Cowboys. A lot of young bucks out there. I don't even know if the Niners Cowboys have had an equal rivalry since. The closest might have been Pitt Patriots, maybe, but the Patriots dominated so much they didn't really have it. I don't think people realize that for 7 of 10 years, almost, whoever won the NFC ship was dominating the Super Bowl. That was the Niners Cowboys. So we would always joke as growing up that was the Super Bowl. And then whoever we faced, the Niners were 5-0 in Super Bowls prior to the last 3 losses.
Right.
It was just disgusting. But it was the Niners and Cowboys league for a long time. The reason I'm going so deep into this is homeboy Dion did jump ship and win them with both, making him seem like not the whole team, but the tipping of the scale.
Yeah.
That
he pushed him over the edge.
I want to say it was 94, 95. I could be mistaken on that. And guys, he was playing for the Atlanta Braves at the time. I think he's the only. No, maybe Bo has the stat. I don't know if it was a home run and a touchdown in the same.
From the same, I want to say he hit a home run in the World Series and scored a touchdown. That was I just watched the Dion E60. If you haven't watched the Dion E60, it is unbelievable.
Yeah, he was nasty. And dude, his confidence, I do think, and I hope I'm not talking too much.
No,
I do think Shador is not as good as his dad. I want to say that.
Definitely
I want to say that clear. Dion has tried, because it worked for Dion, has tried to put that image onto Shador. He's not the same.
He likes to speak it into existence. That's his thing, man.
That was Dion. I don't. You guys don't remember, or maybe that these clips now go around so much that you might remember. There was a GM, I want to say it was the New York Giants, that called Dion. This is a true story, by the way. So, you got to understand how dangerous saying this is, because how you just got yourself undrafted by that team. I want to say the Giants had the 7th pick, and they called and asked him some questions. This is an undrafted kid, not from money. You know, he had jewelry, so I don't know where it came from because you weren't allowed to make money.
He
back
had
then.
some undisclosed funds.
He had funds somehow. Someone
He had Florida
invested in
State
him.
money.
He had FSU money, but he told the 7th overall pick, like, my brother, I gotta go. I won't still be there.
Yeah.
That's a DB. DBs sometimes fall.
He
They don't
was
know.
not gonna be, and it's not like he knew he was gonna be the number one pick either. It's like back then you kind of knew who the number one pick was a long time before the draft, and it wasn't him. So it's like, yeah, he's been that guy forever. Call it confidence, call it cockiness. One of the best football players probably to step on a field. Maybe not, but yeah, you could say best football players. Obviously, one of the best athletes to walk the earth. And yeah, guess what? He's a confident dad. That's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I could be messing up the numbers, but I don't know, Dion was like 5th or 6th. So like the fact that the 7th or 8th team or maybe the 9th team called him, pretty ballsy.
He said
no.
no.
I don't know if they still would have taken him if he was there. I don't know how you handle that. But long-winded answer to your question. I think Shador's an okay quarterback.
He should be fine.
Comparing him to LeBron, I'm pretty sure are clickbait. That's like
That's the problem is he's so polarizing. You want to have guys that think he's going to be the best thing ever, and you guys think he's absolute garbage, and there's just not enough realism in the middle where he's probably a pretty solid quarterback. He's got a bunch of like football IQ is probably through the roof. You know, whether he shows that and acts like that, that's probably why people get so upset by it. But yeah, Shador obviously going to be a polarizing question for the next 2 weeks of preseason. Other than that, we did see a little bit of Cam Ward show off the big arm. Jackson Dart had a big week. My favorite though, and this is again going to be more to this stream, Graham Mertz, ex-Wisconsin quarterback, ex-Florida quarterback, left Wisconsin for greener pastures to go get benched and hurt in Gainesville. 3 interceptions in 3 drives for the Houston Texans in his NFL debut. That was we were all sitting tailgating for the Packer game, watching that on TV, and wow, the bar was popping, and it was not for the right reasons, but yeah, not great.
Excuse me. I'm big on Cam Ward. You know, it's like, oh wow, how ballsy of you to be big on the higher
the
draft
number 1 pick.
The number 1. I haven't been big on a 1 overall probably since Luck. So I don't do this often. I don't know if it's all an act or if it's real, but the kid's answers, maybe it's just I'll just be an old man for a second for any young bucks listening. His personal accountability and how he sees life and talks about life. Again, I'm sorry to pin them against each other. I actually think when people are showing those clips of them talking shit, I actually think they were just having fun with each other. I don't think they have any problems.
Sure. No, I don't think so either.
But the irony for me, again, I'm a third party. I don't really know either of these kids. So I hate when people talk how I'm about to talk. I truly believe their wiring is different. And I do believe the wiring of Cam Ward is what you need to be successful as a quarterback in the NFL. Dion didn't have to know entire playbooks and take care of other people on the field. He only had to be the best talent and read plays, and he was the fastest guy out there. I just don't believe the arrogance of a basketball style player, the arrogance of a running back style, a DB style, the juice. I like juice. I just don't think it translates over to quarterback. I don't know if you guys, you all I'm sure watch sports. One of my favorite things about Mahomes, if you guys watch the quarterback series, is it called Quarterback?
Oh, sure. Yep, Quarterback.
I don't know if you remember this or if it stood out to you. I just like seeing their families. I like seeing who they are. I like seeing them as a dad. That all means a lot to me. But the one thing that stuck out to me, and I got 2 little brothers that are 10 and 12 years younger, who are little punk kids that have been arrested, get in trouble, all this bullshit. They're good kids. They're fine. I did the same thing, but to a lesser extent. So I try and act like the uncle, even though I'm the big brother. And I sent him that clip just to watch. He says he tells guys how good they're trying when they don't get them because he wants them just to try one hair less to hurt him. I don't know if you remember that clip. Every time a DN like gets a hit on him or whatever, he'll say like, "Good job,
be
you're playing hard."
little nicer. Just drop a seed.
He just wants him. He doesn't want to be hated. He doesn't want him to fall on
Right.
top. I know they call everything now, but
Right.
just so they just let up 1 second early. And I believe that goes a long way in the NFL. I'm not saying that's why Mahomes is successful, but I actually think, and I'll conclude this long-winded point, I actually think Cam Ward will do the same. He'll learn the same. He'll lead the same, and he'll be liked. I think Shador will do the opposite. He'll upset people, try and get in their head like his dad, etc. And I don't think that works. I think it's going to result in harder hits, playing harder. I just don't think the quarterback needs to motivate people to hate him more than they already should.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I played the position. I tried not to talk shit because I knew that those same guys are going to take your head off. And if you are not a complete dickhead, they might let up ever so slightly. But no, like you said, I think Cam Ward does say all the right things. He's got an absolute rocket arm. He was on record today saying that he believes Tennessee can have a top 10 offense and he's going to speak it into existence. He's going to make it happen. And we'll talk a little bit about him. It's funny. We're going to go through a bunch of college football stuff. He just wasn't, he was there last year with Travis Hunter and the Heisman being really him and Genty. He never really got into that conversation too deep. But yeah, Cam Ward, I think is a very exciting thing.
He was nasty.
Tennessee,
I
worry about. Tennessee, I worry about as a location for him. But hey,
no, and you know what? I'm a Survivor guy. One of my week 1 survivors that's circled, not yet filled out, is versus Tennessee, but that's dangerous. You don't want to start. You don't want to start versus variables, and he is an absolute fucking variable.
Yeah, you have
There's
no idea.
way around it.
We're going to talk about it. College football is, and actually, that's a perfect way to jump off. College football, you're not going to see me make a lot of definitive statements because in this day and age of the transfer portal, if Purdue has 71 new players this year, I can't fucking tell you what the hell Barry Odom, a new coach, and 71 players at Purdue are going to do this season. And anyone that tells you they can is a snake oil salesman. But what we can do is we can talk about all the fun shit that happened in the offseason, all the new names. We can get everybody updated on a little bit of Heisman odds. But before we do that, Gino, I just want to run through a little bit of a recap of 2024 because 24 was a solid season, but it is easy to forget because since then we've had March Madness, we had the NFL playoffs, we had a lot go on. So without further ado, this is mine. Did the same thing in the NFL and it was a hit. 5 minutes or less, we're going to run through the college football season that was 2024. Now, before we get into that, I do want to talk about the AP Top 25 in college 24. This is great. Some of the names that we see on there: Michigan at number 9, Florida State at number 10, Utah at number 12. We also saw Iowa get into the top 25, as well as NC State and Kansas. All teams ended without bowl games except for Iowa. Iowa ended up being decent. So our season started off, Gino, and I don't know if you remember this, it started off in Dublin with that number 10 rated Florida State team led by DJU. They faced Georgia Tech. They were heavy favorites. I watched it at a Buffalo Wild Wings with my buddies. We're like, week 0, this is great. And Georgia Tech upsets them, and we saw exactly what we thought we were going to get out of DJU. Was never a DJU guy, but that was what it was. And honestly, week 0 this year, we're going back to Ireland again. We're going to talk about that game in a little bit.
Did another team cost
go ahead.
public as much money as Florida State? I can't believe,
brother, they sold. Think about this. How much did Hard Rock win because of Florida State last season?
They just wiped out parlays. Just wiped them.
Destroyed them. So Florida State loses right away, which honestly, I don't think I'm going to talk about Florida State again because they sucked from start to finish last year. It was bad. So week 1 comes around. We saw Notre Dame take down A&M in College Station. Week 2, though, we saw Oregon walk off on a field goal against Boise State. And then we saw those same Fighting Irish lose in South Bend to the Northern Illinois Huskies, who are headed out to your neck of the woods in the Mountain West. I should say your college's neck of the woods, I should say.
Yeah.
But NIU upsets Notre Dame in South Bend. We all go crazy. Oh, Notre Dame's dead. We write Notre Dame off. We're never going to hear about them again. Week 5 comes around. It's UGA and Bama. We get it super early in the season. It was sick. Ryan Williams went off. Back, forth. UGA wins in a wild one. Bama knocks off UGA in a wild one. which is super short lived because week 6 comes and Diego Pavia comes and Vanderbilt comes and Vanderbilt knocks off Bama, which if you guys have not watched SEC Any Given Saturday on Netflix,
Great.
it is on par with every Netflix, quarterback, all that stuff. It is phenomenal. I don't live in SEC country. It makes me want to move to like South Carolina or somewhere to be close. It's sick. Week 7, we're going to talk about this game in a little bit because it has led to a rule change. Ohio State knocks off Oregon. We now have the Dan Lanning rule for 12 men on the field that we're going to talk about. Week 8, we get a little more craziness. Tennessee knocks off Bama. Then we see the Texas fans throw an absolute temper tantrum against Georgia. They throw trash on the field. It didn't fucking matter. The Dogs rolled 30-15. All right, we're getting towards the stretch. Week 11 and 13. Gino, we had a problem in college football last year, and honestly, not enough people talked about it, and nobody's talking about it anymore. So, week 11, Ole Miss knocks off Georgia. The fans rushed the field early. With 16 seconds left, it was a dead ball. And God damn it, Gino, we see it 2 weeks later. OU upsets Bama, and the Oklahoma fans rush the field early, and they have to clear them off. I had never seen the fans rush the field early. I've seen it in college basketball, which is easy to get fans off the court.
Yeah.
College football was a shit show for about 10 minutes, getting
I
all
know.
these drunk-ass college kids off the field. And we saw it 2 times in 3 weeks. I might have to set the line at 1.5 this year that we see early storms. And then we get to week 14, which is the end of the season. It was wild. Georgia beats Georgia Tech in 8 overtimes, which also triggers another rule change, the Kirby Smart rule we'll talk about. Michigan makes it 4 straight against Ohio State. That one fucked me every single way. I did not think that was going to happen. Texas beats A&M the first time those two face each other since 2011. Texas secures a trip to the SEC title. This one hurt me. I had a future on South Carolina to make the playoff. They beat Clemson. I thought that South Carolina was the 3-loss team with the perfect resume to get in. The Cox did not get in. Syracuse, they then come back from 21 to upset Cam Ward in Miami. If Cam Ward wasn't drafted 1, this was the game that would have ruined everything for him. But I guess it didn't matter, which tells you the gap between him and everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I don't want to jump all over because you're so organized.
No, you're good.
I'm going to go ahead and say, too, I didn't really care as much as everyone cared about the playoffs not being that fun the first run. It's like, dude, you got to stick with it. The only thing I will say is if you wanted to have a different structure, as in like the guaranteed ins don't get their own spot, and it's an actual top down bottom ranking of the top. It's 8 teams, right? Or is it 12? I forget.
So I have a beautiful segue for you then, Gino, because this year the 12-team college football playoff is true top 4 seeds get the top 4 buys, so, no matter what.
And I'm cool with that. I really am. A lot of people are calling for the Mountain West, I want to say it was, or one of
those, the American.
Not have a team, or the American, thank you. But I want them to have a team. I'm okay if they don't get an auto buy. That's all day.
Sure.
And I'm also, again, if you wanted to like even things out, because these teams have now played at least once, sometimes twice with their playoff or their bowl, excuse me. I would also be okay if just like almost like the same way playoff NFL kind of does it. I'm also okay if you can't play someone in your division the first round. So we don't.
I agree. I feel like is the easiest thing that you should avoid.
If you really are the best division and it's unfair to you, you don't play anyone in your division the first round, then you both should win and play each other the next round.
Agreed. And they did do a decent job with that in the Big Ten last year. But I just, some of the things, because like you said, we did see nothing but blowouts in the first round. The second round was the exact same thing. We saw blowouts across the board. You saw the semifinals. We saw one good game, and then Ohio State turned into Ohio State. Notre Dame and Penn State was an absolute snoozer. Aller and Leonard looked terrible. It was. I went back and forth with the college football playoff. Was it exciting? I wasn't super intrigued for it being first year.
I think it was a win. I think it just played out badly.
I think you're probably right.
Parity all year than those games, and it sucked.
Sure.
I didn't bet it, so I don't get any credit here, but Smart Money and I had a show about after Michigan beat Ohio State.
Mhm.
And I said, I'm not high on Ohio State. I actually faded them almost all year.
Oh, wow.
Made some good money on Oregon versus them and
Sure.
stuff. I said I'm not high on them, so I'm not gonna. But if you are high on them, you'll never get them at a better price than right now to win it all.
Sure.
I didn't bet it, so I don't get credit there, but I said it. So I do think it was just bad luck. I guess what I'm trying to say was I didn't want them to scrap and change too much because of 1 year. There were some games in there that should have been better games that just weren't.
Right. Yeah.
That's
No,
all.
I agree. I
don't
mean,
want
you
them to
look at
scrap too much.
you look at a lot of this stuff. I mean, the ones that were thrillers, Texas and Arizona State. I don't think anyone was really expecting that game to be close. It ends up going to 2 overtimes. I thought Penn State and Boise State was going to be a closer matchup. Ohio State does get their 21-point
Can you
revenge on
believe
Oregon.
Arizona? What was it? 4th and 13.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had
Freaking
ASU
was
tickets,
it
man.
Was it a tight end post route?
Some seam route. I don't know if it was a tight
Seam
end or
pro-
a
oh,
slot,
skinny-
but yeah.
Skinny post, seam, whatever. Oh, I'm that actually you just reopened a Pac-12 wound.
I was gonna say that was
They
insane.
had a 97% chance. Imagine being there, and that win could have changed the playoffs in the sense that they would have been
Sure.
exciting. I don't know.
That was the team that everybody wanted, and we're going to talk about Arizona State a little bit. Obviously, you lose Scadaboo, but I mean, there are still a lot of good reasons to be excited about Arizona State. So
They're doing things right over there.
they are. Let's roll through some broad topics here of college football. The first one we already knocked out of the way, Gino. We've got straight seeding. Conference championships don't matter. What conference you're in doesn't matter. Top 4 teams in the country will have the top 4 seeds, and I'm hoping they seed everything else accordingly. I'm fine having, if the ACC champion has 3 losses, they're okay being the 12 seed. Just because you won the ACC doesn't always mean that you deserve to be higher than some other
I agree.
teams.
But you do deserve to get in.
You do deserve to get in 100%. And
That's
again,
all it's like, 'cause I just want to see.
sure.
Because I will say that the downside, and I hope it doesn't happen this year. If we get to those worlds where I don't think the SEC was that good last year. I'm gonna
We're
say
gonna
that
talk about. I got some opinions on the
the
SEC.
SEC was not that good. If you look
Parody's murdering them.
What?
Parody is murdering the SEC.
Oh, if you look at their outside of division play and what they were doing, so if they all got the 1 through 4 seed in the bye and all that, I would have been pissed.
Sure.
Because now everyone's fighting to play them and they get home games and all this. So that's all. Even though what's done is done, I don't have the power. I actually didn't want to see any changes. I wanted it to stay the same for this year, but we are where we are.
One of the things that I actually kind of saw, which was kind of cool, is some people asked for a group of 5 play-in tournament, keep the 4 champions, 2 wild cards, and then bring in 2 group of 5 teams in a small tournament. But again, that's just more football. Football's hard already on the body. It's a lot of football. So speaking of a lot of football, we have so many football teams that we added to Division I this season. Division I FBS, Missouri State and Delaware are going to join in the Conference USA. They come by the Delaware, baby, the CAA, something we see a lot of in college basketball season. I believe it's the Blue Hens, if I'm correct. Yeah, the Blue Hens are in, as well as Missouri State. Conference realignment, pretty quiet. My MAC brings in UMass full time. UMass is back. We had UMass back in 2012 when they made the jump, and then they went independent, which was weird. Good to have them back in the MAC.
Why did they go independent? They were never that good.
So I did a little bit of reading on it, and there's a lot of conflicting. Some people said that the president owed a favor to somebody in the MAC, and the favor didn't go over well. But there's a lot of lore behind their jump to Division I, so definitely worth a read if you ever have time. There's a Reddit rabbit hole of how they fought the MAC. There was backdoor meetings. Oh, it's great. Anyways, all of our pretty much everything conference realignment changing next season because Gino, the Pac-12 is back. The Pac is back, and your boys, San Diego State,
get to enter.
They're playing big time football. You got to be so happy.
I'm gonna find a way. There's almost no way I can't go. If I'm not,
You gotta get it. You gotta get a BetOpenly box, something.
I gotta do something because there's no way. I'm gonna try and time it with like a SoCal trip or something.
Sure.
There's just got to be a way. There's got to be a way.
Yeah.
I really, us versus the USC, something like that. I gotta.
It's beautiful, and it's you guys. It's Boise State, Fresno State, Texas State was kind of a funny one. Colorado State, San Diego State, Utah State. So it's basically all the states, and then you're going to add Washington State as well as Oregon State. So it is the state conference, but this is awesome. I love that for the West Coast.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll say, and again, I was alluding to it, I wanted us to get in, but then the USC's leave. I know it's not the same, but they're the USC Big Ten.
Big Ten, baby. 1 of 18.
Oregon, yeah, the 1 of 18 Big Ten. Well, it used to be Pac-10. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah, baby. It was Pac-10. Dennis Dixon, Oregon days.
The teams, it should be the Big 18, but whatever. Right. I do. The crappiest part about us getting in the Pac-12 was I would have wanted us to play a USC, a UCLA, a Stanford.
It leaves a little to be desired.
That's
But this is the thing that I want you can just think about basketball season, because Gino, basketball season, you add Gonzaga. You add the Zags to that list. That is going to be
we're
awesome.
Competitive. We've been competitive.
100%.
So, I mean, I guess I'm just a little disappointed that when we get in, that it's
a little watered down.
It's watered down. I'm glad Colorado State got in because they're competitive.
Sure.
Fresno State, just I don't. I'm trying to think unless my brain is really fucking me. I almost don't know if aside from Oregon State and Washington State, are any of the teams the same?
I don't think so. Those are the only two, and they will be fighting it out for the Pac-12 championship this season, 1-on-1, as they did last season.
Where is University of Washington? Are they also Big Ten?
They are also Big Ten. That is my neck. That is my Big Ten country, baby.
The Big Ten ate up everyone.
They did. We took UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington. Yeah, we took most of the good stuff, to be honest.
The names.
Yeah, we did take the names. The ACC took the Stanfords and the Cals. They can have them. We'll talk about them very shortly later. But the one thing I want to talk about that's interesting, because I'm not going to get into the new Mountain West. The only thing that's interesting there is in the new Mountain West agreement, Air Force and UNLV are going to receive 24.5% of their revenue share, which is like 3% higher than everybody else. I could not find a reasoning on that. So I don't know why they're subsidizing them. But the buzz phrase right now is rev share, because Gino, we've got NIL and we have a $20.5 million cap for college sports. Now the misconception is it's not 20.5 million for football. This is spread out against all sports. So I mean, you have Najee Canaday from Texas Tech, that gal, she was getting $1 million. So you can put it wherever you want it. And the second and probably biggest misconception, it is 20.5 million and the NIL. Yes. It's not just a salary cap. People are going crazy over nothing.
But they are. Thank you for saying that. They are going crazy over nothing, because if you look at all the athletes at University of Miami, they are all sports. They are so far above the 20 million that it's
laughable.
Yes, it's laughable. It's almost really only going to be used for people that don't qualify for NIL.
Oh, I got to put this comment up here. NIU going to the Mountain West is absolutely criminal. I'm not terribly far from NIU, and I know Eric there, my buddy that I also stream with, that's more his neck of the woods. And yeah, NIU leaving the MAC is very, very painful. All right, Gino, I want to talk 5 rule changes. There are 4 goofy ones, 1 important. I'm going to buzz through these quick. First one, replay announcements. The terminology has for some reason changed. No longer is a call upheld or overturned. It's either no longer confirmed or the call stands, which I put in the notes. Who the fuck cares? The Kirby Smart rule. Right. The Kirby Smart rule, which he abused against Georgia Tech, which I think is actually a good one. After the second overtime, you have one timeout. Kirby was, because now after those overtimes, you start going for two against each other. Kirby was just letting Georgia Tech go and line up, and he's like, all right, timeout. Now I know what they're lining up in, or I'm going to make them
Oh,
switch. So
interesting.
now you have one timeout after that
Total.
second overtime for the
Yep.
rest of the game. Again, technicality. The Dan Lanning rule, as I call it, that addresses the 12 man on the field. This is how he ran out the clock against Ohio State. It is no longer a 10-second runoff. There's a lot of vernacular. I'm going to spare everybody all those terms. Just
Could
know
you
that there are.
decline that? Could they not decline it and without the runoff?
So they could decline it, but there was no penalty attached to it. So right now, there is a 5-yard penalty that is going to be attached to it.
Oh,
So and it's a dead ball foul, so there's no runoff. So
got it.
it's they just changed that. The other two that I've got, no more T calls on kickoff. So these guys holding their arms out, doing the T call, letting it go over their head, telling the guys not to catch it. Well, some guys were doing that and then catching it and taking off. Now, anytime you move your arms out, move your arms up, it's going to be a fair catch dead ball. But then the big one that I think college football, it is massive. I don't know how well they're going to police it. Gino, we do not have, or we are attempting to get rid of the fake injuries that these guys are going down after
Oh.
the play is over. We see it in college football all the time because let's be honest, these guys aren't in good a shape and they're running way quicker offenses than the NFL. So now, if a player goes down after the ball is spotted, now there's also going to be on the refs to get the ball spotted quick enough. It's an automatic timeout. And if there are no timeouts remaining, it's a 5-yard delay a game. Because in the past, if you were outside of 2 minutes, didn't have to burn a timeout, you could bring your team over.
Yep.
This guy could come off the field. So now, if the ball's spotted, guy goes down, boom, penalty, 5-yard delay a game, and they move on. So I think out of all the ones, like I said, we got 4 silly ones. I think that's the one that actually makes the most sense. So let's start getting into some of the team stuff. We're going to buzz through. I just took the 6 highest rated non-Power 4 conference teams. Obviously, Notre Dame's the big one coming back. It's going to be interesting. CJ Carr's the quarterback. It is Lloyd Carr's grandson. And for those that did not watch a lot of Big Ten football back in the day, that is Lloyd Carr, ex-Michigan coach. So that will be interesting. He does have a younger Kenny Mitchie sitting in the Waynes. But one of my long shot-ish, it's 40-1 right now, is running back Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love is going to be everybody's favorite running back come NFL draft season. He is a big son of a bitch, 6.9 yards per carry last year, 17 touchdowns. He had the 96-yard touchdown run against Indiana in their playoff game. This is a super favorable schedule. There is an opener at Miami, so we do get Catholics and the Convicts again to start the season Labor Day weekend, so that's going to be great. And then they get A&M a couple weeks later. They have a 10.5 win total over on BetOpenly, which is terrific. I do got to plug this. The BetOpenly win totals, the prices, you get plus 147 on one side, minus 147 on the other side. I went and looked on FanDuel. It's minus 165 and plus 120. That should tell you everything you need to know about betting your team totals. It's not an easy fill, but you just have to have the wherewithal to do your shopping. But they're also minus 180 to make the playoffs, plus 1556 to win the Natty. Do you like Notre Dame? Are you annoyed by Notre Dame? It's a generational thing. They don't bother me as much. They've never been that great.
Yeah. No, they don't bother me. Them staying independent and then also getting, I believe they always had a game against Stanford and always had a game against USC.
Yep.
So I never really cared. We saw them kind of as a rival to the Pac-12, and we saw them as putting us on the map. So it was always a good. It always felt good to us, you know.
Sure. Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's talk. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I am a little surprised that they're favored week 1. If I'm being candid, but now we're getting a little granular. But
it's
probably
be
on Miami money line. But that's
me too.
all over. If you want to talk Heisman, again, I'm jumping all over.
Sure.
You know what's interesting is that, am I just delusional thinking that it's insane that Archie Manning's the favorite?
We're gonna talk SEC, and I get the hype, but my man, how are we even in the vicinity of making him the odds-on favorite for the Heisman? When have
No,
we
that
ever had a Heisman that hasn't started before? The Heisman
no,
favorite.
it's exactly. So that's a little. That means that
Hmm.
potentially you can find value elsewhere because he's stealing a lot of it.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
uh, how do you pronounce it? Klubnik, Cade,
Yeah, Klubnik, Cade.
Klubnik. I'm torn. I look at games more. I kind of liked LSU money line in this situation.
Sure.
Opening up in Clemson, I was very disappointed in Clemson last year at a lot of turns, even though they played it a couple times that were decently
Hmm.
looking. But then I saw Cade was number 2 on the list. So I was like, well, you don't really want to fade
Fade that early because he is
just that early.
we've seen what Klubnik can do, which is good.
Just a talent. So that
But
again,
but what I can say about Clemson is everything's good. It's not great. I haven't seen a great Clemson in years.
no, agreed. Their defense is taking a step down. You know what I will say if I wanted to feed a little bit, I do buy into the Cam Ward hype. Again, we're talking
Mhm.
Miami for a second. But I also think there was something to be said about the offense they were running there and the talent
Oh
around
yeah,
there. I know people don't love the guy, and I know he has a bunch of off-field. I forget he's like dating someone famous or something.
yeah. There's a
I don't
lot
even
going
know
on with
what's
him
going
off the
on there.
field.
But the odds are gross because that's just how FanDuel is. But I I I do think a Carson Beck kind of sleeper for a unit's not bad.
What do you got him at right now, odds wise?
I'm showing 20-1.
See, that's the sprinkle you got
Not
to
bad.
find.
If the coach was good and the
Hmm.
talent was good and they just really do run a very potent offense. And again, I do believe Cam Ward is good, so I'm not selling Cam. But
Sure.
let's just say I'm a little bit wrong, and
Hmm.
Cam is good but not great, and the system made him look really great. And now you have Beck coming over into a more offensive-minded place that's
Right.
running it up and more possessions and more passing and more. I don't know.
Yeah.
20-1. He's clearly he knows what it's like to be under the bright lights. So Miami isn't going to make him nervous.
Oh, no. Well, and you come from a smash mouth team in Georgia that wants to pound the rock. That's their
Yeah.
MO. And now you're gonna spread it out and get these athletes that Miami's got. Not saying Georgia doesn't have athletes outside, but
Yeah.
it's just a much different offense. And yeah, if you believe in Mario Cristobal and you believe in Miami, I think that's a perfect spot to get him because again, like you talked about, guys that are at that price now, if they show any promise, that price is not going to get better being where it is already. So I like that as a small sprinkle with Carson Beck. Over in your neck of the woods, a team that I'm not super high on, however, they did get a top 25 consensus pick is Boise State. Boise State this season, they have to replace Ashton Genty, are doing it with a 6th-year senior by way of Fresno State. I'm not going to predict anything positive to happen for Boise State this year. I feel like regression has to be on their schedule. They do have to take a trip to South Bend this year, so that's tough. It's very very tough. I don't see highly in Boise State. I don't know if Boise State's making any rounds in your neck of the woods. I know, obviously Mountain West area, but some of your teams you follow. But yeah, I'm not thinking Boise State's going to run that back.
Yeah, no, I agree. Uh, yeah, I want to feed you where I can feed you. The portal to me is just so it's almost impossible to follow that. All I'm looking for at this point, guys, is teams that I believe are carrying a little bit too much value for last year to fade in week 1. My
Sure.
week 1 will sadly be light. I'll be learning more in week 0 or 1 about who's left. And I am going to throw in some degenerate futures where I
Of
believe
course.
people are walking into good systems.
Mhm.
And again, I just like selling the narrative, right? The narrative, sorry to repeat this, but the narrative is Cam Ward could have, potentially was the Heisman if it wasn't for Travis playing both ways in an
Sure.
inferior team in a very inferior conference. And so I'm like, well, wait, what if? And if the what if is it was the system, it was the team, it was the coach, even 30%, I just see value on that. So
That's
it's
enough.
hard
That's
to
enough
get
to boost a quarterback that's won a national championship before, and that's what
exactly.
Carson Beck is.
So that's where
So
I'm at.
yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with
Hard.
you. And the last three that we're going to talk about, I'm not going to talk about them much because they are all in. Oh, one thing I didn't mention in our overview, the American Athletic Conference is no more. They have changed their name to just the American, which again, shout out. Make it easy. But anyways, the three teams, they got the most votes between the AP and the coaches poll. It was Tulane, which Tulane, we just talked about the portal. Tulane's backfield from last year is getting paid $10 million to play elsewhere. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, where they both headed. Army, 12-2 finish last year. That's great. We'll see if they can do it again. They graduate a lot. Memphis, team 11 wins. They're going to start a bunch of transfers. And then UNLV. Dan Mullen is over at UNLV, which I think is an awesome hire. Comes by way of ESPN, but originally Florida. And then it's gonna be interesting for him because he's gonna have Alex Orji, who was one of the quarterbacks at Michigan last year that didn't work out so well, and then Anthony Calandria, who was out in Virginia. Both guys, great dual threats. I think UNLV is a team that in this era, I thought they're gonna be a perfect jump for that Pac-12. But we'll see how things go moving forward. Everything's going to change. Everything we talk about now is going to be different 12 months from now because teams will get paid more money. But let's get into the actual Power Four. We got four conferences to breeze through here. And maybe I want to start with the most wide open. Everyone thinks we're going to start ACC. Here we go. Starts out against South Florida on the road. Tough game. Fact, South Florida is going to be interesting this season. So let's talk Big 12. Like I said, very wide open. Interesting. So Bill Connolly, a guy from ESPN. Oh, this is another good one. Castellanos, Florida State. He lost the job at BC last year. If you want a long shot, 100-1 at Heisman for Florida State starting quarterback, maybe. But also not buying into Florida State. Not doing it, Eric.
Oh,
Not doing it.
you
Not
are
doing it.
insane.
Not doing
If
it
the
again. Not
Heisman
doing it
came out of
again.
Florida State. God damn. I just didn't see
So
talent around. I know. Was it
yeah,
DJ? What was the coach?
it was DJU last year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know you. I don't want to say you threw shade at him. He deserved it. He earned it. I just don't know if he was the be all end all of the problems. I just saw problems everywhere.
He was a easy scapegoat who has been a scapegoat every stop of the way. Shout out DJU. I'm sure he's selling insurance somewhere, or I think he might be playing in one of the off leagues. So the cool stat that I found, Bill Connolly, good follow. I believe he's ESPN and Fox Sports, does a little bit for both. All 16 teams in the Big 12 have a 35% or better chance at 6 wins and bowl eligibility. It was really hard to find stats for the other conferences. Everything that I could kind of gather is no other conference has double-digit teams that can say that. So 16 in the Big 12 means it is wide open. Looking at some of the things that are going to kind of shape the Big 12 moving forward, I mentioned Texas Tech and softball a little bit before. Well, Texas Tech is showing their commitment to NIL. 24/7 ranked them as number 2 in the portal window. That shows that they are buying in, which is great. Coaching news wise, we do get a couple of coaches back in the fold. We're going to talk about them a little bit. Also, Mike Gundy gets to stay at Oklahoma State. And then we see Matt Campbell of Iowa State. And this makes me feel very old. Gino, he's extended through 2032. Yeah, your eyes go up and do the quick math.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. So Matt Campbell gets his extension in week 0 in Ireland. We get one of my favorite names for a rivalry, Farmageddon. You get Iowa State and Kansas State, which should be a very fun way to start the season.
Do you know where the Ireland deal came from?
Just why they play it there?
Like why Ireland and not like Germany or England or anywhere?
So, you want me to do the politically correct reason or why I actually think it is?
Why you actually think?
It's all white teams. Wisconsin is going to play Pitt in like a year. Last year, now Georgia Tech, that might be, you could say Georgia Tech and Florida State, no, but in the past, it has been these farm teams, Iowa State, Kansas State. I believe they're trying to find pockets of the United States with heavy Irish heritage, which Wisconsin's a big one. I would imagine Iowa's a big one.
No Notre Dame?
So Notre Dame, You
decline?
got to think you should just probably play there once a year anyways if you're Notre Dame,
Yeah.
especially because you don't have any sort of ties to a conference. But yeah, Notre Dame you'd think would be a perfect fit for that, but alas, we get Iowa State and Kansas State to start our season.
What's your non-opinion? Where did Dublin come up?
Oh, the non-opinion is we need to give everybody a turn at an international game, and Ireland is the cheapest option for teams to travel to. I think it's really, really expensive to go to London and house
Oh,
an entire staff and football team. I think Ireland is still somewhat cost effective to where you can move that amount of people and equipment. I think
got it.
logistics wise, it's just a lot cheaper.
Fair enough. Yeah, I had no idea where this popped out. I was frankly like caught off guard last year. I knew we had a
I,
week 0,
it's
but I
it's
was
very
like,
odd.
I didn't even like it. I just felt like I heard about the NFL moving to Europe forever before it did.
Oh,
That one
100%.
just kind of like snuck up on me.
Oh, well, don't worry. We moved to Brazil and that worked out so well that they're doing it again. Uh, Now, let's talk a few teams here in the Big 12 that get me excited. We talked about ASU. Cam Scadaboo's gone. Unfortunate, but you do have one of the most exciting players in college football, I think, Sam Levitt. He showed that he is terrific. Jordan Tyson, his best
He's
receiver,
good,
is
right?
back. Yeah, he's great. And he's going to have his best receiver returning who had 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns last year. So I think Sam Levitt is a
And
guy. I don't know if you have those.
they're barely out of the top 10, I want to say. I want to say I saw them in
Oh,
like the
yeah,
top.
absolutely. So Arizona State right now, as it sits, they are 11. So
Wow.
yeah, the right now in the Big 12, they are the highest rated at 11, and then you don't see another Big 12 team till Kansas State at 17. So I
It
mean,
was
it's they
insane.
not great
I looked up
representation.
to their I forget the number, but it was astronomical
Hmm.
for them to win the Big 12 last year and them to make the playoffs.
Oh yeah, well, did you hear the story at
I think it was
Pac-12 Media
the
Day,
longest shot ever.
or not Pac-12 Media Day, Big 12 Media Day this season? You want to hear the most cowardly bullshit of all time? The media didn't vote because last year they unanimously voted Arizona State and Kenny Dillingham as the worst team in the conference.
Nice.
And this year they decided not to vote. And that's cowardly, in my opinion. So
Very
shame
good.
on you, Big 12 writers. Complete shame on you, whoever decided to do
They
that. But
they
yes,
unanimously picked them last and they win it. That's just so great.
so perfect. And that's the poeticness of college football. Poeticness, that's not a word. Uh, Long stream. Let's keep it rolling. Anyways, for ASU, it's going to be about their defense. Their win total is 8.5. They are plus 600 to win the Big 12, plus 400 to go to the playoff. That was a ticket that I had last year, was a playoff ticket for them. So that was awesome. And then they're plus 9,500 to win the Natty. One thing I wanted to talk about, when I say the name Camp Tantazola, does that ring any bells to you?
No.
For those of you that don't know what that is, and I don't think I can get the picture in picture thing. Let me see if I can get it cooking. Don't think it lets me do it on iPad. So it's spelled Tonto Zola. It is where ASU plays their fall camp. It is maybe the most gorgeous.
Oh, I saw the photos.
You saw the photos. I'm
Where
gonna
is that a
repost it.
new thing?
So no, it's been happening forever, and it's just been a
Oh,
best kept secret, and they allow it to the public. And now that it's no longer a secret, I do fear that it is going to get overran. They've got very
it's
light concessions. They don't allow alcohol, which Arizona State not allowing alcohol for something very funny.
ironic.
Uh, very ironic. But it is just a beautiful, beautiful spot to watch
Yeah, it
their
looks
fall
sick.
camp. But yeah, so ASU, everybody's looking good. This next batch, it's Iowa State, Texas Tech, Kansas State, Baylor, all regarded as contenders. ISU's never won a conference championship in their
I,
entire life,
I
which
would
is
buy I
crazy.
would buy some Cyclones here.
I would think to buy some Cyclones too. Locking
I'm
down
also
Matt Campbell and Rocco Beck being back, I like that.
I'm a rock I'm a Brock Purdy guy, so
Sure, sure, of
I'll show a
course.
little love there. A lot of talents come out of ISU.
Yeah, 100%. Well,
Quietly, a
and
lot of
this year they lean on teams with dominance in the trenches. They are, for me, watching old Wisconsin tape. This is a beautiful team to watch. It'll be interesting. They return nearly 100% of their rushing production from a year ago. So that is going to be, I think they do lose 2,000 yard receivers. That
That's
sucks.
annoying. Where'd they
That
go?
sucks. I don't remember where they both ended up, but that really blows. So look for this team to grind shit out. They're 11-1 to win the Big 12. I think that is a
Ugh,
great number.
I might be
Uh,
betting that.
that's a great number. Plus 950 for the playoff. And they're plus 17,000 to win a natty. I don't think they're a natty team, but I think plus 1100 to get
Yeah.
and win the Big 12. That is something that's possible. I talked about Texas Tech dropping big money. I don't know how that's all going to mesh this year. Baylor, they were a game away from the Big 12 title, and they kind of had a lackluster offseason. They are projected to finish kind of in the middle with BYU, Houston, TCU, and Colorado. Now, we can talk about Colorado a little bit. They bring in Caden Salter. He was from Liberty. So for him, he's got obviously huge shoes to fill. I think it's just so much of a bigger deal to make that talent jump from a group of five up to the P4 and have to play against these teams every week. What do you think about Colorado? I've been reading that it's going to be defense this year for Colorado. It's defensively led, which is crazy.
Yeah. Oh man. I wish everything stayed the same and the new quarterback got to step in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Caden. It's just gonna be such a different
It's going to look a
schedule.
lot different.
It's gonna look so different that part of me wants to buy again. I like fading narratives. I like fading the public. So I want to
Mhm.
fade that I want to fade that he's a step down.
Yeah.
I want to buy
No,
that he's a step up. So
I don't disagree. Obviously, we talked about Shador. I
Christian
think
conferences.
he was the perfect college quarterback. He was confident. He hung in there when college quarterbacks don't hang in the pocket. He was willing to do it sometimes at his
Yeah.
own detriment. But yeah, I think it's going to be a real interesting season. And hey, if Dion can make the pivot from being this offensive team, graduate guys, and be a defensive team, that's a lot to hang your hat on. I think Warren Sapp is
Yeah.
helping run that defense, so not a bad guy to have in the building when you're building that sort of defense as well. So, two coaches that are back in the fold. Scott Frost is back at UCF after a massive failure at Nebraska. He went 16-31 with 0 bowl games. He was fired back in 2022, so it's been a few years. So he's back at UCF. He was the coach that hoisted the 13-0 national championship for the boys down at UCF. But the one that I love because I have a little bit of a history with is Rich Rodriguez is back at West Virginia. And for people that didn't remember Rich Rodriguez, he left West Virginia for Michigan after a couple of Big East championships and a BCS bowl appearance, basically disappeared out of thin air. And I believe it's at my parents' house. I have a handwritten recruiting letter from Rich Rodriguez, my sophomore year of high school. It was days before he was fired, and it
No
was so
way.
perfect. But yeah, those two hires I don't get too excited about, and bringing up the rear in the conference, Arizona and Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy is staying around, so love to have that character in college sports. He's a guy that you could see retire and not come back. So love to have that. But any thoughts on the Big 12 before we move along to the ACC?
My thoughts on the Big 12 are I like a little bit of Iowa State value.
I think that's where we're both on the same page.
I like Iowa State. That's probably the only team I could get behind.
Those 2,000-yard receivers, losing 2,000-yard guys is
that
tough,
hurts.
but you can lean on teams. If you have a good defense, you can lean on teams.
I think there's just no value on Texas Tech for how much money they spent.
Yep.
It just doesn't feel it. Kansas, you just don't want to buy high, right? Arizona State's
Right.
high, so I immediately crossed them off, even though
You got to cross out, in my opinion, ASU, KSU, Texas Tech, and Utah. Like none of those teams to me show value.
Yeah, and it's sad because Utah's defense was pretty nasty last year.
And one of the hardest places to play. Utah at night, when the lights go down in Utah, things change. Things change.
Utah BYU game still stands out in my head. They're
A blast.
They're a good program. So
They are.
Yeah, you're getting low there when But no, I actually think there's some value here on Iowa State. I'll
Mhm.
leave it there. It's a pretty close conference from top to bottom.
It is, man. I mean, I talked about it. That statistic, having 16 teams with a 35% chance or better to go to a bowl game. You got a
Yeah.
lot of parity there in the middle. Another team in the middle that I wanted to give a shout out, Kansas is finally opening their stadium. I think it took them 4 years to finally complete that thing. If you saw the
Wow.
wheat in the end zone, it is a beautiful stadium for the Midwest.
Oh,
So
sick.
yeah, we'll end the Big 12 on that positive note because I want to go to the ACC where we've already talked about Carson Beck and some of the
Mhm.
QB transfers because QB transfers are the big story in the ACC. You get obviously Beck, you get Miller Moss at Louisville coming over from USC. Love Jeff Brom getting another name. He should be
You know
better
why
than both.
Moss left when the quarterback above him got drafted?
So Moss, it was a clashing of Moss and Lincoln Riley, from what I read. They just did not like each other.
Weird.
Very weird.
Weird to
So I guess
wait for your turn and then leave for your turn.
and I guess Jeff Brom, Jeff Brom, he had Jake Plummer's kid, then he had Tyler Show, which Tyler Show gets drafted. So I mean, he's got a decent pedigree of quarterbacks lately. So maybe he helps Miller Moss move on. One that I was really interested of as far as transferring that wasn't a quarterback. So we talked about Tommy Castellanos from Boston College going to Florida State. He's going to be thrown to a wide receiver from actually USC named Deuce Robinson. Now, Deuce Robinson, he was the number 2 receiver in the portal. He was the number 1 tight end in the class of 2023. USC brought him in, slimmed him down, made him quicker, faster, more explosive.
Right.
Allegedly, he is supposed to be one of the top receivers in the country this season, so he'll be an
Well,
interesting one to watch. But the last one is gonna be a team that we just got to talk about for just 5 minutes on their own. Gio Lopez is going from Southern Alabama, where he amassed 3,000 passing yards and over 600 rushing yards in 13 starts with 31 touchdowns. He is the new quarterback for none other than Wild Bill Belichick is back. Wild Bill signed a 5-year, $50 million deal with 3 years guaranteed. Now, there was a $10 million buyout if he jumped ship before June 1st. Now it's simply $1 million. Before we get into the fun news, Steve does come to coach the defense from Washington. Freddie Kitchens is the offensive coordinator. That'll be an interesting one. For those of you that remember, Freddie Kitchens was the coach of the Cleveland Browns. He moves from tight end coach and run game coordinator to OC. We'll see how that news ends up. But the big one, Gino, how old are you?
41.
Yeah, I was hoping you were somewhere closer to 50. I knew you were closer to 40 because I was like, I just can't even, dude. His girlfriend. What are we fucking doing here? What are we doing here? I need to hear your thoughts on Jordan.
Yeah, like the way he's handling it, the way she pretend, it's just weird. It's
So weird.
just weird.
She's like involved, but not
It's just like
involved.
around practices, like marching around. It's honestly like I gave the benefit of the doubt that he was just like, she's crazy and like he didn't care. But
Yeah,
then like when she showed up to practice, I was like,
she's way too close to the program.
let her do whatever she's doing during weird interviews. That was weird. How you
Hmm.
met, weird. How you act, weird. All that's weird. But then bring into practice, that was where I truly
Oh, and
thought that.
dude, she's like 10 to 15 years younger than Steve, his kid, who's also at
Yeah,
practice.
no,
Like the family
and
dynamic is gross.
it's just weird that if he left her if he left her out of the practice, I'd be like, whatever.
Yeah, you
She's
date her.
young,
We never hear anything
she's
about her. We never
pretty,
see her, maybe before
he's a
games.
fool. Like he's a
Hmm.
fool. It's weird, it's creepy, but he's a coach.
Hmm.
This it's almost like unraveling his, I don't want to say his facade, but like
Oh, the mystique is
the
falling
mystique that, you know,
apart, dude.
the cut off sweatshirt that I don't care. I'm just here. All I care about is football, and
100%.
she's really unraveling it. So it's
I agree. It's yucky. The word
It's
my
bad.
wife used was yucky, which is
It's
for
just
a
it
gal
doesn't
that
even,
works at a grade school, that's perfect.
there's just not an angle where I'm like, I don't know.
This is why
I
it's
don't know.
happening, and this is why it's okay that it's happening. Yeah,
Yeah,
nobody can
it's
find that angle.
all of that's just kind of falling apart.
Yeah. Big shout out too with the chat and viewers now up to 3,500 on the night. Gotta love that. Let's keep it moving in the ACC here. The next tier after them, it's Miami, it's Louisville, or sorry, the first tier is Clemson, which I talked about
Yeah.
it. I'm not super high on Clemson. They have not showed me enough to say that they are a true contender. Um, we don't really need to get back into them because we already talked about them in Miami a little bit. The one that I got to ask you about out of Louisville, SMU, Georgia Tech, is there any other teams in the ACC that you see that similar value that we saw on ISU? I mean, you're talking SMU plus 1,000, Georgia Tech plus 1,400. Either of those teams move your needle? SMU, obviously a great story last year, but
SMU and Miami are on my radar.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like how both feel like they came up short on their year, so they're hungry. I
Right.
believe that sometimes keeps the talent there from exits and
Hmm.
stuff. I believe they both attracted talent versus lost it. So,
Sure.
you know, I don't know if it's the Clemson name carrying or if it's Cade because the second highs in the Heisman.
Needs a
I
little bit of
don't
both.
I don't sell all favorites, guys. I promise. I also bet fit. Like I'll give you an example. I'm betting the Atlanta Falcons to win the South. Um,
Ooh, I like
so
that.
I'm jumping all over, but I just want you guys to don't think I just bet underdogs all the time and
Sure.
try and go 50-50 and I make money. I bet favorites too. I just um yeah, I think the back to Miami with the talent and the danger there and Clemson not impressing me for a long time now. Uh
Sure.
leaves a window open for me with Miami. So
Well, in Clemson, just no value, plus 110. I mean, what are we doing?
it's not there. Yeah. And then yeah, I don't know. North Carolina UNC had a good defense at times. Yeah,
UNC is, I mean, you look at UNC, their win total, I believe, is now 7.5, is what I'm seeing.
yeah, it's not that
Um,
far out. I mean, it's
it's
not.
hard
They're
to
not going to win
say.
the division.
No, no, and I
Um,
don't think that's anything that too many people are worried about.
yeah,
And that's I look at the middle of this conference. It's the middle of storylines. You get Belichick at UNC. You get
yeah.
the talent influx mixed with some questionable coaching at Florida State, because Florida State did go out and still get transfers. They're going to do that every single year now. If they can put them together and do anything with it, that's a whole nother
Stanford
story.
and Cal.
Now that's the fun one. Stanford and Cal. There are two dynamics that are going on at Stanford and Cal. First thing that happened in Palo Alto, Andrew Luck is the general manager of his ex head coach, Frank Reich. Uh, they fired, I forget the previous coach, late after the season. It was actually deep into recruiting. And now Frank Reich is going to take over for just a season, it sounds like. And at Cal, we get a reverse dynamic. We've got Ron Rivera at general manager, and now he's looking over his ex player Justin Wilcox. And these are the two worst teams in the league. And I love the fact
They're
that we
building.
get some like little bit of nepotism, but not, it's
Yeah,
very
they're
fun.
building. They're not going to do
Yeah,
much.
they're
Dude,
doing they're doing their best.
Cal wasn't bad last year.
Cal, if I think what the best thing that happened to Cal last year was staying in games and their social media team being rabid. I don't know if you
Yeah,
saw all the weeds they got into on social media.
they were hilarious.
They loved it.
Yeah, Cal. I actually think Cal underperformed. They had a chance to be a
Sure.
lot better than they were, and they lost a couple. They won a couple good games, stayed in a couple games, didn't pull out what they should have. They it's hard to say this, but they were one of my most disappointing teams. I actually had them. I guess I have to wear it as a loss. I had them
Yeah.
doing a lot better than they ended up doing. I told everyone they're not on anyone's radar and you can make some money off them, and we did on a couple of games, but then other games they let us down. I also had a money line a couple times where they fell short where I could have just taken the points and covered.
Well, when we get to the Big Ten, I have a team for you because there are remnants of the Cal Bears that have trickled their way into the Big Ten, and I think it is a sleeper team. Before we jump to that Big Ten, there are two other things I wanted to note. We talked about Tulane losing $10 million of their backfield to the portal. $8 million of that went to new Duke starting quarterback Dorian Mensah, who is good, but Duke paid him $8 million. The Duke Blue Devils are throwing darts at the wall. My question is how many quarterbacks did you go to with similar offers before you ended up on Mensa? Because I think he was like the fourth or fifth rated quarterback in the portal. But then the other one that I'm super excited about, Syracuse. Demetrius Samuel Jr. This is a name that not many people are talking about going into the season. I had to do some deep reading, which, if you want to do some reading, Syracuse is the college for you because every single person that goes to that college talks and writes about sports. So that was great. Uh, that dude is playing both ways as a true freshman this year. He's playing safety and he's playing receiver. Now, is he going to be Travis Hunter? No, he's not the talent that Travis Hunter is. But everything that I'm reading, he's going to probably be their number 3 receiver, and he's fighting to be their number 2 corner right now. So that is a guy that I am super excited to see as we move forward. So that is the ACC. We got 2 conferences to go here, and this is my neck of the woods here in the Big Ten, Gino. I have the first note. They have established themselves back-to-back national championship. They're number 2. I still will not put them ahead of the SEC, but they are absolutely the number 2 conference in college football.
Agreed.
It has to be. And I think we're going to have, if they win again this season, the conversation is going to be deafening from Big Ten fans, especially if it's a Penn State or even an Oregon that hasn't been one of the 2 last winners. So in this conference, there are 4 teams really that everybody's looking at. And the Big Ten has 3 out of the top 4, or 3 out of the top 4 highest win totals at 10.5. The ones we got to talk about, it's OSU, Ohio State, Oregon. The one that's kind of slipping in there is Michigan, which is interesting. And then it's Penn State. But let's talk about Ohio State because Ohio State is interesting. They lose 3 starting linemen. They lose both of their running backs. They lose Egbuka, who I am super high on playing for Tampa Bay this year. I think he's going to have a great season. And Will Howard. So really, you are starting over on offense. You've got Jeremiah Smith, who is unbelievable. He's going to be the next great thing for Ohio State receivers. You've also got a quarterback in Julian Sand that no one really knows a lot. He was the top quarterback in the class of 23, went to Bama, transferred. But the line that I want to talk to you about, the 2 names that get brought in as coordinators, Brian Hartline on offense and Matt Patricia is back in the fold of big time coaching on defense. I want to start with Patricia because we watched him do feels like 5 different jobs over the last 7 years. Is this finally a landing spot for him in college football, you think?
Oh, I don't really still understand the dynamic of where the head coach versus the athletic director who carries the power of which school and when. So I'm just so not a good person to answer. So I don't even want to.
Sure.
I don't want to get wrong. I just want to say one. Yeah, it's he's replacing Chip.
Yep.
And Chip, where does Chip Kelly go?
Chip Kelly is the offensive coordinator of the Las Vegas Raiders, a team that I'm getting higher and higher on as we get closer to the season.
Got it. Yeah, Chip always gets a chance too. He's been all over.
He's been everywhere.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to rush you. I gotta expedite this a little. We got the little ones never sleep. We got to go to bed in like the next minute. But
you're okay.
Throwing you a bone. I'm buying Ohio State to work Texas week 1.
Ooh, I like that.
But I'm actually buying Penn State to actually win this conference. And I'm buying it pretty heavy. I think the losses to Ohio State, they shouldn't be favored, but the respect they're getting off the win. Obviously, Oregon's right there, so I want to say Oregon being a Big 12 guy. Penn State's cost me some money the last 2 of the last 5 years where I've overbought them. But this is probably the year that I'm hammering them the strongest. I just really believe this is their year.
It's the year to do it. They are returning everybody. Katron Allen's back. Singleton's back. Aller's back.
I think you're going to see a sharper fall off from Ohio State. slight
Sure.
from Oregon, but really this is Penn State's year to win this division decidedly.
Sure. I don't disagree. One thing I want to get before you go, SEC, I won't make you stick around. I do want to talk through my SEC tiers, so I will do that. Is Georgia the new Clemson? By that I mean, did they get too hot and now are going to find themselves out of the picture for here 2 to 3 years before they're able to reload, which we've kind of seen with Clemson. We saw things get really, really hot, and now the last 2 to 3 seasons, yeah, they're in the talk. They made it to the playoff last year, a 3-loss, conference champion to get into the
Mhm.
playoff. Is Georgia the next step? They've got Gunnar Stockton this year at quarterback, who we saw play a little bit last year, but they have a ton
He
to
didn't look good.
replace.
Yeah, there. It's going to be a boring one, but I'll give you back to backs. If you want to be boring in the SEC, I'm probably going to buy back Bama.
Hmm.
I'm going to
I
sell
don't
Texas. I'm going to
disagree.
sell Georgia. I'm going to sell Texas and Georgia. If you want a sleeper, I might have some money on LSU
I don't
to
hate that either.
reemerge. I might
Got
have some
busy
money
in
to
the portal.
reemerge. So if you want to be boring in the SEC, it's Bama. If you want that, what is it? Probably 8-1. I hope if it's like an 8-9
So
to. I
so
don't know.
LSU is plus 700 plus 900 depending where you get it. And I will tell you, Gino, I've got LSU in my top tier in the SEC. So we are on the same page with LSU. Very, very busy in the portal. We'll talk a little bit more about it in depth. But I got to thank you for coming on, man. We had
Thank you,
34 or
brother.
3,500 people on. I get Gino for an hour and a half, and then it's dad time. And I guarantee my wife is going to be very pissed off that I'm making it past
I
nine
just got
o'clock.
I got a
But
6-month-old and a 2-year-old. They don't sleep. They're up
no,
at
man,
6 a.m. So
I
I
got
gotta
I got a
I gotta
I
get
got a
there.
2 month old, and that's it. And he's keeping me busy enough. Luckily, he's sleeping a decent amount now. But I will let you go, man. I appreciate you. We will talk in a
I'll
couple of weeks ish, three
I'll just
weeks for
end with
NFL Week 1.
I'll end with some dad stuff.
Let's do it.
For anyone out there, if even 1% of you wants a kid, have a kid. If
Mhm.
no percent of you wants a kid, don't have a kid. It's a lot of work. The rewards are infinitely more uplifting than the downside. Kids are not that expensive on money, and I'm not trying to like flex like I got
Yeah,
money. I'm
not
saying
weirdly
they're
not
time.
expensive.
No, they're time consuming. So if you
Yeah,
want one, it's like a puppy. If you're going to buy a puppy and leave it in the corner, don't buy the puppy.
right.
But if 1% of you wants a kid, have one. They're effing amazing. They change your whole outlook on life. But if 0% doesn't, please don't have one. I'll just say that because I got homies that fall between the 0 and the 100%.
Mhm.
And dad talk aside, it's weird. I'm actually better at work, better at sports betting, better at everything since my kids came in my life because I do so much less of the other things I used to consume all my time.
Mhm.
And now I do things for fun at home. So I'm a home a lot more. So
Mhm.
again, don't want to flip the script. O'Kane comes prepared. Listen to the man. He has a plethora of knowledge. I just wanted to say for any young dads out there, a lot of dads gamble. A lot of dads watch sports. So I just wanted to sneak that in there for anyone out there on the fence or just found out. Congratulations, that kind of stuff. Don't be afraid. They're really not expensive. They're very time consuming. And as long as at least 1% of you wanted the kid, you're going to be a great dad and it's fun. And you do it every day is different. Every week is different.
Yeah, there aren't enough dirty diapers in the world to make it not worth it. That is the gist of it. There's not enough sleepless nights. There's not enough dirty diapers. They are a blessing every single day of the week. So Gino, thank you so much. Uncle G is going to be back with us to talk NFL Week 1 in a few
Without a
weeks.
doubt.
Yep, we will talk to you then, my brother. Always, always a
Appreciate you.
blast having you on. You have a great rest of your night.
We'll talk soon.
Absolutely.
Later, homie.
See ya. All right. Well, I appreciate Uncle G. He is always one of my favorites to get on here, but at the same time, I get him for 90 minutes. That is how this goes. The man's got shit going on. So let's finish up here as we get into the SEC, or sorry, the Big Ten rather. Outside of Ohio State, I wanted then to kind of move down below that. Penn State reloads just about everybody I talked about, except for Abdul Carter. Obviously, he's not the case. He's a little bit of the exception to the rule. I've never been a Drew Aller guy. That's just kind of how I am. He does not push the ball down the field effectively, but when he does, he's great. They are 18-0 when his yards per attempt is over 7, but they're 2-3 when it isn't. The problem is the latter games in the season, that's when he's not doing it. You get talked about it. Nick Singleton, Katron Allen, the league's best backfield. It's not even close. They're going to have a very similar backfield to Ohio State last season. We talked about where the money was invested defensively, so you know that defensive coordinator Knowles is getting it done. He is the highest paid coordinator in all of football. Sorry, I take it back. He was third behind Wink and Wink Martindale and one other. Can't think of it off the top of my head. So Oregon was my favorite team in the portal this offseason. Dan Lanning picked up running back Mekhi Hughes from Tulane, who looks absurd in camp. He is absurdly ripped. I would highly suggest looking at some photos of that guy. No pause. He rushed for over 3,000 yards and 24 touchdowns at Tulane in 2 years. He's going to be a perfect fit, but I think their best move in the portal comes by way of Nevada. The number 2 lineman in the portal, it's Isaiah World. He is 6'8", 309 pounds. The dude is an absolute mammoth of a man. Quarterback Dante Moore, straight up not great at UCLA, but now he's had a couple of years of familiarity with the Oregon offense. I think he's going to have a great season. The one guy that I'm super interested, DeCorian Moore, the highest rated Oregon wide receiver since 2000. I think we're going to see a lot of him. It'll be interesting to see if everything works out. They're the third team in the Big Ten with 10.5 wins. They're plus 300 to win the conference. Now, last is Michigan, and they're on here because their offense can't get any worse. Bryce Underwood is the 5-star quarterback that everybody is talking about. Whether he gets in immediately, we will see. But defensively, they're going to be the top 3 team in the conference. They're going to be one of the top teams in the country. It's hard to say what the future holds. They're an 8.5 win team total. I don't know, but it makes sense to me. The next batch of teams are the likes of Indiana, Illinois, USC, Nebraska. Storylines here, IU picks up, and I was going to talk about with Gino, Cal quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Mendoza, 69% completion percentage last year, 3,000 yards, 16 touchdowns, 6 picks. NFL hype inbound. He is going to be a huge name. He's better than Keaton Rourke last season. I think they're going to be solid. Nebraska did promote Dana Holgerson to the offensive coordinator full time, but the team's going to need to take a massive step to get relevant. I don't know if they are there yet. USC replaces Miller Moss, which is good because that didn't work. We know Lincoln Riley's team is putting up points, but guys, they don't play defense. And the last thing I want to talk about is a team I'm not going to talk about, Illinois. I'm not going to talk about anything nasty because I think Illinois is actually probably going to have a good year. Iowa gets the FCS transfer, which Minnesota kind of tried, didn't work out great for them. Minnesota is replacing their defensive coordinator, which was really all they had. And then my Badgers play the toughest schedule in the country. UCLA has Nico, Purdue, 71 new players. And the last thing I have in the Big Ten, Maryland does have a 4-star quarterback. That is possibly going to start. He's 6'5", 231. So that's Cam Newton for those of you that want to know. Let's talk about the SEC because I want to talk about the SEC before I get out of here. I have tiers in the SEC, and we talked about it with Gino. I think parity is completely weakening the SEC. So I got a few different tiers here. The first one I got, it's old money, new faces. We talked about Texas. Arch did it the old-fashioned way. He waited. The Longhorns, first time ever preseason #1 in history. They also had the #1 recruiting class in the country. So Texas is every way back you could possibly be. They had a dozen guys drafted. They do replace their entire defensive front. They aren't really looking for young guys to fill those holes. I know they got a defensive tackle for Purdue and a few other Power 4 guys. We're going to find out right away. It is Ohio State and Texas on August 30th, so can't wait for that. Talked about UGA, thinking that they're going to be kind of that same arc as Clemson. Young defensive line and O-line play has been terrible. We'll see how Gunnar Stockton works out. I am not super high on Georgia. Bama, they have very good returning talent. They've got 15 starters back. Not common for the top of the SEC. Ty Simpson's plus 1,900 to win the Heisman. He's their starting quarterback. They do have a 5-star Keelan Russell that is like right behind him. Ryan Williams plus 3,500 to win the Heisman. He's going to be the name that everybody's talking about. And then Jam Miller is the one that I think needs to take the biggest step. He is the running back for Alabama. 668 yards last year, which is the lowest amount of yards for an Alabama running back since 2000. 9.5 win total feels pretty right for Alabama, but I think I'm with Gino. If there's a team, Bama's kind of one of those teams I'm going to look at. But then the team with the highest level of variance in the SEC, in my opinion, because of what they did in the portal and what they've done in the last few seasons, is LSU. You've got Garrett Nussmeier plus 750 to win the Heisman. He's getting just as much hype as Arch. I'm looking at a supporting cast, very different. Number one portal team according to 24/7. Number two overall defender. So you do get better on defense. You get Patrick Payton. He has had 16 sacks, 32 tackles for a loss. He's played 40 games. He's played 40 games for Florida State. So he'll be a very good one. You get the Anderson boys at wide receiver. Um, Good compliment, but it's going to come down to defense. Can LSU stop other teams? That was what killed them last season. We know this team's going to put up points offensively. Garrett Nussmeier is going to have a good season. I don't think he's going to fizzle. So I do think LSU at plus 700 to win the conference. Win total of 9 feels pretty good, but there's a lot of uncertainty there. Next tier in the SEC, I've got new money, but still climbing. Ole Miss, the lane train keeps rolling. Get Austin Simmons. Decided they did bring in some portal help, but they're deciding to go with the in-house kid and Austin Simmons at quarterback. You lose multiple linemen to the portal for, I think it's like the 4th straight season. They've lost 2 or more starting offensive linemen. And I do think it has to do with the way that they play. They play super fast. It's unforgiving to the linemen. I know that Lane is on their ass. It's got to be a tough place to play if you're an offensive lineman for Ole Miss. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a tough year for Ole Miss. I don't think they're going to have a terrific season. Another team that I'm not super high on, Tennessee. You did get the Nico stink off you, but Joey Aguilar coming over from App State, he's getting some good press in camp. Losing Dylan Sampson's going to kill you. This team, when they rushed for over 185 yards last season, they were 8-0. I don't know where they're going to get that rushing production this season. A little worried about how Tennessee is going to go. Texas A&M, I do still love Mike Elko. For those of you that have been watching me for a few years, you know I loved him when he was at Duke with Riley Leonard. Arguably the best offensive line in college football down there in College Station. The team's going to come down to offense. Marcel Reed is a very, very dynamic quarterback, shown that he can really play. KC Concepcion comes over from NC State. I think he is an absolute baller. He's had 18 touchdowns in the last 2 seasons, has had some massive games while he was there. Missouri, interesting team, Missouri. Only Georgia's won more games in the past 2 years. It's very odd, but they have nothing to show for it. Out of their 11 SEC wins over the last 2 seasons, 7 were against teams that finished with losing records. The team went 1-5 against good teams, and they do bring in Penn State transfer Bo Perubula. People super excited about him, but you lose Cook, you lose Luther Burden. You do go get their one big win was the number 1 defensive player in the portal, defensive end, Damon Wilson the second. No crazy numbers at Georgia, but he's a freak athlete. He's 6'4", 250. You're going to hear about him all day long. And then Oklahoma. I'm not going to go crazy on Oklahoma. I wish I would have brought it up with Gino, but Oklahoma, John Mateer from Wazoo, the Venmo story with the gambling and the college football 26. It's a lot getting in the weeds. I'm not going to go too much on good old John Mateer, but tread lightly when looking at Oklahoma. Now I want to go to the middle class. The middle class is interesting. Auburn, Jackson Arnold comes by way of OU. And with him comes Eric Singleton from Georgia Tech. Now, Singleton is going to pair up with Cam Coleman. I do think this is the best 1-2 punch at receiver in the country. You also get Horatio Fields, who is going to be playing in the slot. I think he could explode this season. Auburn is one of those teams in the middle class that if things break even slightly right, can be right up in that contender class. And another team that has that kind of hype is South Carolina. Lenore Sellers is 16-1 to win the Heisman. He got better every week last season. Nick Harbor is back at wide receiver. That dude has absolute burners. They're a top 5 connection in the SEC. They do gain a 1,000-yard back. Rashul Feisen comes over from Utah State. For those of you that watched a little bit of him last season, very dynamic. This is going to be a very pass-heavy team from last year. Hopefully, he's going to smooth things out a little bit. I love their win total this season, sitting around like 5.5. So, big fan of SC and where they're at. Florida, as we move down the list, Billy Napier bust. Billy's holding on for dear life. Now, this is widely regarded as his most talented team since he took over DJ Lagway. He has the talent to be a superstar. Now he needs the consistency. We saw the Anthony Richardson boom bust does not work. You need to be consistent to win in the SEC. The lines on both sides of the ball, they return depth and talent. So the schedule doesn't do them much favors, but not as bad as Arkansas, who we're going to talk about next. And really, the only thing keeping Arkansas from the lower class is Taylon Green. The Liberty Bowl is like singed into my brain. Completed 11 passes for 341 yards at 81 yards on the ground and a touchdown. He's a blast. The problem here is the schedule. You go on the road, Ole Miss, Memphis, Tennessee, LSU, and Texas. You then get Notre Dame, A&M, and Mizzou at home. After week 2, I think this team's favored in against one team, and that team is going to lead off the lower class. It's Mississippi State. Mississippi State had to start over as a program last season. You kind of feel for them. Some really, really good people in that building, but it's going to take years to build this team up from where they are. And unfortunately, in the lower class, Diego Pavia, he wins his JUCO don't count lawsuit, but I think that's where the positive ends. There's not much positivity in the Vanderbilt section. So I'm not going to leave you guys too much longer. Went almost 2 hours today. Big shout out to my guy Gino. Had over 3,600 people in today. Obviously, some good stuff in the chat. Shout out to my guys that were busy there. But yeah, next week we're going to be talking a little college football week 0, as well as talk about some weekday games in college football week 1. So another big college football stream next week, and then we transfer over, talk a little more NFL as we get closer. Again, shout out Gino, shout out BetOpenly, always big fan of theirs, and we will talk to you guys next week.